Welcome back to Magpie Talkback Radio, where you call in straight after the game, leave me your thoughts, and we'll have a chat about it. Let's get straight into this thing, and we are going to start it off with an anonymous caller. Let's just get into it.
Hey, Swoop.
Hey,
Just want to give a massive shout out to Jeremy Howe today. I thought he was just fantastic, and he really saved us a lot tonight. I thought he was just his intercept marking and how he runs and jumps at the ball was just phenomenal. So I just want to give a shout out to him. Um, Look, we struggled a bit tonight, but we got the 4 points. That's what matters. And I think it matters most when you peak early, you be healthy at the right end of the year. And it's just so good just to stick it up those haters. So yeah, go Pies, and yeah, looking forward to the rest of the year.
mate, thank you so much for calling in. I agree. Jeremy Howe, just his ability to read the ball is pretty much second to none at the club, definitely. And look, that's why I know Charlie Dean didn't have a good game by anyone's standards, but what Charlie Dean was able to do is create a folly for Jeremy Howe. So Jeremy Howe can still run and jump at the ball and intercept mark instead of having to be a one-on-one defender. So that's why we do need someone like Charlie Dean in the team as well to let Jeremy Howe do what he's doing. And is Jeremy Howe? I know there was a bit of talk about him a couple of weeks ago, saying against Melbourne, I should have an All Australian jacket and stuff. But he the most underrated defender, or one of the most underrated defenders in the league? I dare say that he might be right. So thank you so much for calling in. Next time, leave your name because I'd love to shout you out. So I thank you again for calling in. All right, Ollie, welcome.
Swoop, Ollie here. Yeah, that was a really interesting win. I mean, I was actually tempted to go to the game in person because I've admit that when I have seen the Pies play against bottom teams, it gets interesting. If you remember the North game back in 2022, I mean, a win's a win. Like I think it was a good performance. Like when I mean good, I mean getting the win. I mean having all four tools, that's questionable. I mean, I hopefully by the time we get all the good players back, like DeGoey, Schultz, Frampton, McCurry, we'll be like better than this. But this was a really good game tonight. That gave us a good reality check of what we need to improve. And hopefully we can improve on that going forward, starting against Carlton next Friday night.
Ollie, thank you for calling in. I appreciate it. You think this might be your first time? Correct me if I'm wrong. So thank you for calling in and giving us your thoughts. But I agree. I think it was a good reality check. But like you said, whenever we play a bottom team, and this is not just even in the Craig McRae era, I feel like whenever we've played a bottom team, we not lower our standards. I don't know. I can't think of the right term for it, but we definitely do mirror how the opposition is going. In saying that, though, West Coast have played a good last few weeks, and they really gave it to us. It was a good reality check, and it was almost like they were resting in game instead of managing players. They were resting players in game. So I don't really want to look too much into it. I think we got the job done. No more at Marvel, which is incredible. But yeah, when we start getting those Schultz and DeGoey's and Maynards back, oh, the competition will watch out because that's when we'll start peaking. In a month's time when we do get Frampton and all these players back, and it's our best 23. Oh my gosh, it is going to be incredible. Now, up next is the Hyphen, my boy. But shout out to the Hyphen because he is caller number 300. That is insane. And can I just shout out as well? You remember last week I talked about meeting Ben at the gym, and he was caller 200. Ben is actually caller 301, who will be next after the Hyphen. So he nearly had 200 or 250 and 300, which is just, Ben, you were a couple of seconds off getting that 300th caller. But Hyphen, kia ora.
Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy. Great song, Swoop. I don't care if nobody else thinks it's a great song. I do. Still got the post game playing in the background. I'll turn this down. It's your man, it's the Hyphen. coming through with another hyphen hot take. And I will preface that by saying this: not all of them are going to be hot. Now, here we go. And not many of them are going to be much to do with the game. But Anthony Hudson is almost as unbearable on commentary as Dwayne Russell. Probably a better commentator, sorry. But he can't hide his disdain for Collingwood, and it gets kind of irritating. Obviously, as a Collingwood fan, I would say that, but I don't know if anyone else has noticed that. Just putting that out there. Second thing, really like what Joey said, what Lee Montagna said, and also Bucks kind of touched on it, that when a team comes in with a plan and a strategy and they're playing the best team, they are going to put their best foot forward, and props to Collingwood for negating those challenges. I thought that was very well said because, essentially they're playing their final spirited, gallant effort from West Coast, which pains me to say because they're up there with Carlton for me. Because in 2018, when they beat us, it was kind of the first season that I started watching all our team's games. So I've always got this little bit of hate for them, but they played a good game. Anyway, off that, another good win. Looking good, lid is lifting. Flag pies army, side by side, all that good shit.
Mate, thank you for calling in. And I do notice the Hutto stuff. I don't listen to him too often because I'm either at the game or whatever it is. But when I do listen to it, and I feel like it's a lot of commentators. I feel like it's a lot of commentators that say not say it, but they subtly just don't like us, and you find that a lot, especially like on the radio and stuff. I feel like that's the word. Like, when I listen to it, I listen to, like, I think it's SEN when I'm at the game, and you can find that they tend to barrack for the opposition a little bit more. But again, like you said, man, it could just be the Collingwood bias in us thinking this. So if there's a neutral watching this, let me know. Do you think that there's a bit of a disdain for the Pies when they're commentating? But yeah, man, you're right. It was just we just got the job done, did what we absolutely needed to do. We'll bank those wins, take those 4 points, and then move on to the Blues. But again, I just love how you're calling in, and you've got, I know it's fan cam, full broad fan cams in the back. But thank you so much, Hyphen. I appreciate it. All right, Ben, just gave you a big pump up, Ben. What's up?
Swoopy, mate. It's Ben from the gym again. Hope you're doing all good, mate. Thoughts on the game? Look, I was expecting to thrash them by like 100 points. It was honestly a bit nerve-wracking in the third quarter because I feel like there's a possibility we could be due for like an upset loss eventually. I had full faith in us because we always decide to come hard fourth quarter. No pub this week. Ended up watching it at home in my pajamas. But yeah, look, all that matters is that we keep getting the 4 points. We're pretty comfortable on the ladder as well. Carlton next week. Hopefully that's actually the shellacking game because I fucking hate the Blues. But yeah, go Pies, mate. Move on to next week.
Ben, thank you so much for calling in, mate. Mate, let me tell you, being in your pajamas watching the game is probably second to none. Such a good experience. But you're right, man. I hope that the shellacking comes against the Blues. But that game, and I'll talk about it in a preview later on in the week. Again, that's a 50, not a 50-50 game, but it's a game where we should either win by 60 points, right? I always say this, but we should win by 50, 40 points. We win by a couple of goals because that's just the way that these really big games go. Hope to see you at the game, though, Ben, for swooping around at the end of the game. All right, next up, we've got Big King Bowser himself, Nath.
Hey, Swoop. So obviously sitting on top, by a good margin now, 12 points ahead, and just frustrating how we play, the teams that we play in the position they are. Eagles on the bottom of the ladder, really we should have won by, upwards of 60, you would have thought, but every time we play these teams, they seem to either change in their game plan or we're getting a bit, ahead of ourselves and letting them kind of play their game. I know we win, but we usually win. But I want to know why you think that happens, where we don't win by how much we probably should win by on paper. But yeah, so just wanted to get your thoughts on what you thought about that. Go Pies.
Yeah, that's a good question, man. Like I said a couple calls earlier, I do think at some one stage we sort of do mirror the opposing team, but also I think it's just self preservation where we're just going through the motions because we know that we should be beating West Coast, right? We should be beating him by whatever, however much it is, doesn't matter. We should just be beating him. And when we can turn it on, like we did in that third quarter, or that second half, we can turn it on. I think the first half was us trying new things, and this gives us an opportunity to, I think anyway, experiment with things that you don't or that you're not able to during training sessions during the week, right? So I don't mind that as long as we win the game. And yeah, again, I think it is self-preservation where instead of resting five players and, spitting in the opposition's face that way and then possibly losing, you rest the minutes of the players during games like this. And I thought that's what we did see against West Coast. We saw it against the Kangaroos as well. And I guess to a lesser extent, St Kilda, but St Kilda, a little bit better than those other two teams. But I think that's what it is, self-preservation. Thanks for the call, mate. I appreciate it as always. Cameron, give it to me, mate.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. That was not pretty at all. I mean, I'll take the win, but our attack just wasn't on tonight.
Yep.
You could tell we're definitely missing Bobby Hill, Bo McCreary. Charlie West looks good, though. Scott Pendlebury is still playing good as ever. Defence also held up pretty well, but good to be 10 points clear on top of the ladder, and hopefully we can continue our streak next week against the Blues.
I think you brought up a good point, mate. We were missing Bobby Hill, and Charlie West did look good, and he's going to be so good for the future. At the end of the day, we went too tall. We tried again, like I just said to Nathan. It's a self-preservation thing and trying new things. We tried four talls, it didn't work, right? Because when the ball was in dispute, we didn't have enough ground runners. And that's not by design. That's because Bobby Hill was laid out, Bo McCreary is injured, Lockie Schultz is injured, and Elliott really isn't that sort of crumbing type anymore. So again, trying new things out. It didn't work. We know that for next time. I dare say that if Bobby Hill still doesn't play against the Blues, I would love to see Will Hayes just at the feet of these big key forwards. I don't want to see him up the ground too much and trying to take marks on the wing and half forward and stuff like that. I want to see him in the 50 and just as a pure crumbing forward, because that is something that we're definitely lacking. And you can see that without Bobby, and even if he's not kicking goals, Bobby is still causing headaches for other teams as that small forward. Without him in the team, the opposition were just able to just run it right out. And that's a little bit scary, especially if you do it against a good team. But thank you so much, Cam. That's a really good point. Pasindu.
Hey, Swoop, my man.
Hey, mate.
How you doing? Oh, mate. The same thing happens to us though. Against weaker sides, we do not play well. Like especially the first half, we weren't at our best. Clearly, I don't know why, but we should always start well against the weaker sides. I
Yep.
know we start well against the good sides, but we should start well against the weaker side. But having said that, we went out there to win, and we did.
Mm-hmm.
And the good thing about this, we don't even need to worry about West Coast anymore. What a game Charlie West had.
Yep.
First kick, first goal, joins the club. How good. I believe that. I think Tom Mitchell should be back next week. I mean, he's having a good block in the VFL. And obviously, Bobby Hill was a late out, so I think he should be in. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, the selection call for the blockbuster clash against Carlton. Bring on Carlton, and God knows what Daniel Gorringe will do next. Up the pies.
Yeah, Pasindu, you make a good point about Tom Mitchell. Over the last 7 games, he's averaged 28 disposals, 8 tackles, 7 clearances, or 7 tackles, 8 clearances, no, 8 tackles, 7 clearances. So in the last 7 games, he's actually had a better 7-game stint than Ned Long has. I don't want Ned Long out of the team. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think if you want to reward effort, and like we're rewarding effort for Charlie West, you reward Tom Mitchell. Bring him in, especially against Carlton, who are a contested rugby style team. I think he'd really benefit from coming in and playing his game because, like you said, you just never know what Carlton are going to dish up. Thank you so much for calling him, Cindy. I appreciate it. Cooper, Big C.
I am a broken record. Carlton lose, Collingwood win. It's been a great weekend. But that win kind of felt like a loss. We should have buried the team, but hey, I mean, we take the 4 points, we take 10 points up, we're sorted. I mean, what's Dan going to do next week when Collingwood beat Carlton? He's already shaved his head. What else can he do? Love you, Swoop.
Mate, love you too, Coops. You're 100% right, man. Like, it's always a good weekend when the Pies win and Carlton lose. And hopefully on Friday, we see that again. But Dan Gorringe, yeah, I wonder what's going to happen. What could he do? Could he get a Magpie tattoo? Maybe that could be the thing. But the poor dude, like at one point, you start feeling sorry for him, don't you? He's done it to himself, really. But Coops, thanks so much for calling in, mate. Nico.
Hey, Swoop. I'm going to be honest, it was probably the flattest I've felt after a win in a few years.
Yep.
I walked out of Marvel Stadium today with my head down, sung the song, but wasn't happy about it. I know we have a lot of injuries banking up, and I know there's a few little things going on behind the scenes. We can all see that personal reasons out for Bobby, this and that, but we really need to fix it up because we have a tough month coming up,
Yep.
and this is what could make or break our top 2 position because at this point, we are not playing like the team we were that beat Hawthorn, that beat Brisbane, that beat those teams. We really need to fix it up. We need to get these personnel back and we need to keep it going from here. But that's about it, Sue.
Yeah, Nico, I think you're 100% right, mate. I do see that we're not the same team as we were maybe pre-buy. Especially like you got to think that we smashed North Melbourne. Okay, we should have, but we smashed Hawthorn as well. We had a really really good win against Hawthorn. So you do want that Collingwood back. Is it just post-buy sort of things? Like we saw last year we struggled post-buy, and well, we lost our next 4 games after the bye last year. And I feel like the year before in the premiership year, we didn't do too, like we were still winning, but we weren't playing as well as we should post bye. So that'll be interesting to see. But we do have a big month coming up, especially, Carlton, of course, anything can happen in the Carlton game. But then we go up to the Gold Coast and they are formidable at home. And then I think after the Suns, we have Brisbane towards the end of the year. I can't remember who we have after the Suns. Oh, it might be Richmond after the Suns, but or Fremantle. But yeah, it is going to be a big month coming through. I think we just got to grind away a few more wins. We're on 13 wins now. I think 15 gets us top 2, maybe sewn up. We are 2.5 games in front though, so that does definitely help us. But I can see how you were feeling flat. Like I enjoyed the win as well, but it was just kind of like, get me out of this bloody hellhole of Marvel and let's go from there and get back to the G. Let's get back to the G. Nico, thank you so much for calling in. Tracy.
Hi, Luke, it's Tracy. Firstly, thank God we do not have to step foot into that ground again for the rest of the year. It's such a nightmare ground. It brings out the worst in us every year.
Yeah.
Look, we step away, we walk away, got the 4 points, press the reset button. I wanted to talk about Ed Allen, though. I think that he's now had the opportunity to play these consecutive games
Mhm.
for us. And I really think he's found his spot. I think the transition into the side's been really good. I actually thought he was fantastic tonight. He's been good for, the last few weeks, but I think tonight was probably a standout for me. Gosh, I would hate to be someone having to select our side over the next, 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know people like Shooter, Bobby Hill, McQuarrie. These are, Jordan De Goey even guaranteed starters for us. But I really think Ed Allen has earned a spot as well. So I'm glad I don't have to make those selections. I'm really glad. Not a horrible problem to have as a supporter, obviously, and as a football club, to have so many good players fighting for a spot. Lockie Sullivan, for me, has really locked in his spot at the Collingwood Football Club for the next couple of years as well.
Yeah.
I think he's great.
Yep.
He's probably going to be unlucky and get knocked out of the side
Mm.
when we start getting some of these injuries back. But yeah, Ed Allen, what a story for us. Absolutely wrapped. Go Pies.
Yeah, Tracy, you bring up a couple of really good points. Ed Allen, yeah, he at the start of the year, I said he's going to be best 23 come finals, and I think you're right. He has found his spot in the side, and when these guys start coming in, I don't think unless he has a couple of bad games in a row, I don't think you can take him out of the side because he does give us a lot of run, and he uses the ball well. My only knock on him when he started playing a lot was his defensive work, and I think he has tightened that up a little bit. I think on my review I said that maybe he's due for a stint in the VFL soon, just when these other guys come in. But again, that's got to be so hard. Like if he's playing good, you're not just going to chuck him in the VFL because another guy comes in. So it's going to be really interesting. But I think the Lockie Sullivan piece, look, Sullivan might be, and I've said this for a few weeks, and let's not think about the grand final. That's not what I'm talking about here. But I'm just talking about at the end of the home and away season, leading into finals. A couple of years ago, we dropped John Noble from the side. Ultimately, we go on and win the premiership, right? I think there's going to be one or two John Nobles this year that have been playing really well, consistent football, that just don't make it into finals. And that's when we see Schultz, McCreary, DeGoey, Maynard. These guys lock it in. I think Sullivan is going to be one of those guys. To a lesser extent, if I'm to really, really, really dig down and see who else that could be, possibly Ed Allen and possibly someone like maybe a Will Hoskinelli. I know I love Will so much. Could be those three guys that make room. But again, thank God we're not selectors because I don't get paid enough to have these headaches of who's in the team and who's out of the team, because that is going to be just intense in 4 or 5 weeks' time. It's going to be absolutely nuts. Tracy, thank you so much for calling in, and hi, Sophie, if you're watching. All right, a few more callers to go. Nick.
Swoop, Luke, you beautiful bastard. This is my first time leaving a message for you, so
Nick,
that's
yay.
cool. But I felt like now was the right time. Only because, I don't know, these last couple of weeks, yes, we've been winning. Yes, we're quite clear and comfortable at the top of the ladder, but I don't know. I don't know if it's a Marvel thing. I don't know if it's like, because we're missing a couple of players here and there thing, or, it's a little bit of the wobbles coming through. I don't know. I'm hoping it's nothing serious, but I feel like there's we're missing a bit of that polish the last couple of weeks, and there's multiple other teams in the comp that are looking a bit more polished than us, especially this week and last week, and they would probably have beaten us last night. So
Yep.
I don't know. I hope it's nothing serious, but I'm glad we won. Let's hope the boys can get it together for next week because, look, there's nothing that's going to turn the Carlton supporters' mood around than, like, beating us. And we don't want that. We're happy for them to be miserable and keep being miserable. So, look, let's hope we get our shit together before next week, hey?
Yep.
Keep doing you, Luke. Don't change. Love your shit. And speak to you soon.
Nick, thank you so much for calling in for the first time. Please call in again. I really, really love your energy and everything that you had to say. But yeah, you're right. Look, yeah, these last couple of weeks have been a bit how's it going? But I do think you were right. You were bang on the first time. I think it is a Marvel thing. When was the last time we've played back-to-back at Marvel? I really can't remember the last time we played back-to-back at Marvel. And I just don't think the width of the ground suits us. Like we can't run the wings. We can't get our run. There's not enough space for our forwards to work in. So I think it's going to be an absolute blessing playing Carlton at the MCG, even though there was no other place to play them. But just getting back to the MCG after, we haven't been there since the big freeze game, since King's birthday. So we'll be back at the G, a little bit more width, a little bit more space to move for our guys. ultimately, over the last 2 weeks, St Kilda and who did we just play? West Coast. The players that played the best have been the players that have played at Marvel the most. Scott Pendlebury, Tim Membry, and Patrick Lipinski for the Dogs have played the best these last fortnight because Marvel was the home ground for their original teams. And then, Scott Pendlebury's played at Marvel for, 30 years or however long it's been. So that actually is an interesting point. I do think it is the Marvel thing, and we're gonna see a big change when we play at the MCG on Friday. And hopefully, look, I want to smash Carlton. I do. I just want to win, right? 7 points, 8 points. I don't want to be by less than a goal, but I just want to win 7 points minimum. 7 points minimum or 2 goals minimum a win. And then I don't care how much we win by as long as we get the job done. Nick, thank you so much for calling in, mate. I appreciate it, and I hope to see you next week. Ben, kia ora, Ben.
Kia ora, Luke. How are you going, brother?
Good, mate. Hope you're feeling better.
Hope you go well. A bit better than I was last week, but a bit of a cough. But it's all good. The game last night, man. If I said that the Saints game, I felt comfortable with this game, I didn't at all. I
Yeah.
think most fans weren't comfortable with this one. Positives from the game. Charlie West, big old Charlie West, getting a goal, first kick, first goal, awesome. Brody Mychik, game 150, goals on the board, fantastic. Negatives, just weren't able to put the Eagles away, and credit to them. They played their grand final last night, and there's still things for the side to improve on. So, and there's still games to go.
Yep.
Still games to improve what they could do this season. And if we're playing like this in finals, I'd be concerned. But if we're hitting our straps in finals, then that's the main point. And as always, go Pies, baby. Woo!
That's it, Ben. Thank you so much for calling in. Glad to hear that you're feeling a little bit better. I hope the cough goes. It's always the last thing to go. Oh, I know when I cop it, it's always the last thing that goes for me. But you're right. Look, if we play like this, maybe not during finals, but like in the lead up to finals, those last couple of games, I'll be on here worried as hell. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's just a little bit of a patch. Remember, 2023, the same sort of thing happened. It's back-to-back Marvel games. If we play like how we played against the Eagles, against Carlton, and ultimately lose, different story. Wouldn't be panic stations, but it'll be a different story. Thankfully, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it is just a little bit of a patch that we will shake out of. We're doing what we need to do, get those 4 points, and then attack the rest of the season, or the rest of winter. Really, we're now in the middle of winter. It's 30th of June. TJ, talk about winter in Perth, hot and sunny Perth.
Hey Swoop, how you going? You're gonna have a lot of people say the same thing, obviously, but yeah, very clear that 4 tools does not work. 3 tools very rarely works for teams, so that's not a surprise that that was a kind of a shit show. Especially with Bobby and Bo and Shooter being out. Even Hayes would have been a nice inclusion, but he played VFL, so that was a no go. But yeah, I think they should give they need to give West another game, probably when they rest, Checkers, Membry, McStay, give them a proper go, that second or maybe third tour. Because I just don't think that done any good. Despite him getting a goal, I just didn't think it done any good having him play in a game with so many tours. But yeah, not a pretty win, but it's a win, and we go on. I probably think we're due for a loss. Not that I want us to lose, but I think it could be beneficial to lose, have that good reset a couple of months out from finals and really dig into what they need to get better on, because I feel like a loss is going to be that wall moment, like we need to really crack in now. But yeah, as long as it's not against Carlton next week, because fuck those scumbags. Go Maggies.
TJ, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it. But yeah, you're right. Look, the thing is, I want to give Charlie West another go, 100%. And Fly said it best after the game. We couldn't rest Mychek because 150 games. Can't rest Dan McStay because he's our second ruck. Tim Membry's been in so much good form that you can't rest him either. So they tried 4 forwards. Didn't work. I understand that. Okay. Coming up against the Blues, I want to absolutely annihilate them, right? Membry's still in good form, kicked a couple on the weekend. You can't rest Mychek because he's just going to absolutely shred their defense, especially if Jack Silvani doesn't play. And then McStay is the second ruck because, we will be going up against De Koning and stuff like that. So we need that second ruckman. I just don't think Charlie West plays this week. I would, if anything, against Gold Coast, I'd rest Membry or I'd rest Myercheck and then put Charlie West back into the side because I think they know how much beating Carlton means to us and how much this game means to us and as supporters. So I think they won't do any drastic changes. And then Gold Coast, maybe you can afford to drop the Gold Coast game if you really, if you needed to. It wouldn't be that big of a deal, if you will. So I can see the changes happening there. I just can't see them happening against the Blues because I want to bloody smash the Blues, as you said, TJ. Thanks for calling in, Gary. Birthday week, Gary.
Hey, Swoop.
Hey, mate.
Yep. Great win for the Pies. 10 points on top of the table. And Charlie West kicked his first goal, which was good. Also, Collingwood in the VFL, 9 points over Southport.
Yep.
And also, Brain Maynard should be back next week, hope so. And also, Tom Mitchell, I reckon he's got to get a call up. He's playing so good in the VFL. A couple of games, he's got it. I reckon he might put his name for selection for this week. Hope so. We got the Blues, got those clowns, and I reckon we can beat them because definitely we should. And of course, it's like 2023 all over again,
Yep.
but a lot way better because we're playing so good. I reckon. Well, I hope we can win it this year, but
Me too, mate.
still a long way to go. All right, see you, Swoop. I'll see you next week at the game. Go Pies.
Gary, thank you so much for calling in. And hi to whoever that was in the background as well. I appreciate it. No, you're right, mate. And it's a good shout out for the VFL Pies against the Sharks. Doing it against the second best team in it at the moment in the VFL is really nice. But yeah, Gary, look, I hope as much as you do, mate, that we take it out this year. Again, look, I don't want to sound cliche, but a week at a time, and we're looking okay. We're doing what we need to do, Gary. But you're 100% right, mate. And I hope to see you after the game on Friday night. And yeah, I think it's your birthday the next day, so I'll see you then, mate. Give you a big bloody birthday wrap for you. Get a big birthday win. Mel, the lucky last for this talkback session.
Hi, Swoop Luke. This is Mel. I'm King Bowser's wife. I just wanted to say go Cats and we'll see you in the grand final.
Mel, I love it. I don't want to play the Cats in the grand final. I'll tell you that right now, but I love it. I love the energy, and maybe we will see you in the grand final. Mel, thank you so much for calling in. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching, thank you so much for recording your thoughts and letting me into a little bit of your thoughts, which I absolutely love and adore. That this community and family that we've built, especially from just this talkback, is really, it means a lot to me. If you want to get in on the action, the link is always going to be on Instagram right after the game. Just swoop Luke on Instagram, hit that record button, and we can just absolutely go from there. But until next time, go the bloody Pies.